And welcome everybody. This is Sherman Ray, and this is the Black Success Magazine podcast. Hey, well, I'm real excited about the show today, guys. It's been a little while before since we've last come to you. Probably been a couple of days, anyways. But I wanted to make sure we get some more stuff in by the end of the year. I'm getting a lot of people, not just people who or listen to the podcast, which is really cool. Pretty excited about that. But also, we're getting a lot of people who want to be on the show, which is even enjoy that even more. Well, anyways, folks, for those of you, this might be the first time you're listening to the Black Success Magazine podcast. I'm Sherman Ray. I'm the publisher of Black Success Magazine. We've not put out a publication in a little while now. Got busy with some other things. I had some other opportunities that we're working on. I was in the ministry. Still am in the ministry. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. But really just very busy, doing God's work. That's what you do. That's right. When God calls, you drop everything. That's it, But so now I've got some more free time, which is I'm really excited about that. And I looked back and I saw that a lot of people were watching the show. And I said, you know what, dude, you better get back on this because there's a lot of people who've really been listening to some of the older shows. And so I thought, this probably, which means people have really been enjoying what we've been doing. So we're back on and we want to make sure that we just start putting more great content out there for people to check out. If you'd like to check out our website, we've got a temporary website that's up. It's just Google in Black Success Magazine, and you can actually check out some of this stuff. Got some articles there. Well, I promise you, folks, end of 2023, definitely in 2024, we will start putting in more and more content on our website that the Lord's really been downloading to me. I mean, a lot of stuff. I've learned so much over the last, how long have we been doing this? 30 years? 30 years of business and leadership and all kinds of stuff like that. So I've seen a lot, not just what we've done, but what I've seen happen out in the marketplace. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're actually going to talk about leadership today, and why leadership is so important. And I just don't. Many of you are probably looking behind me, and you're seeing part of my bookshelf there. And many of those books that are on my bookshelf, if you can see us, are filled with leadership books. If it's not Bibles, they're leadership books. It's kind of all I know, right? Because they go hand in hand. And many of those books are John Maxwell type books. John Maxwell is, I cut my teeth on John Maxwell. And there's really not much that he's taught that I've not acquired at some level. And so you're going to get a little of that, and you're going to get a lot of biblical stuff. And because right? Here's the funny thing about it. If you're reading any leadership books, it's probably out of the Bible. That's kind of where I know a lot. I know it's a little secret. It's a little secret nobody wants to admit. But yes, they are probably biblically based things that you see all the time that are in the Bible. And it's just kind of the way it is. Before we get going here, folks, I'm going to tell you a little bit about, well, let's take a real quick break and then we'll come back and we'll talk about some really other cool stuff that I hope you will enjoy. We'll be right back in just a second. Well, very cool. So I'm kind of getting back into doing podcasting. I just haven't done a podcast in quite a long time. So if you see some mistakes, see some delays or something like that, you guys just cut me some slack for a couple of weeks. So I'll get this back together. We have started a, uh, a nonprofit, and the nonprofit is called Step Up Nevada. Step Up Nevada is really geared towards the homeless and helping people out who really need a second chance at life. That's really kind of really our bread and butter, where we want to help people who need a second chance at life. And if you'd like to check us out, go to stepupnv.org, www.stepupnv.org, and you can find out more and more about the organization, what we do, how you can get involved, do some donating, which would be great. We'd really appreciate that. So let's talk a little bit about leadership, folks, and why leadership is so important. John Maxwell will tell you everything rises and falls on leadership. And what do we mean by leadership? Leadership is really your ability to get people to follow you. Okay, that's your ability to get people to go where you want them to go, do what you want them to do, and to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. And if you cannot be a good leader, it's going to become very evident. I mean, it's going to become very evident because you're not going to get anything done. And that's kind of the bane of most organizations, is they can't get anything done. Well, if you can't get anything done, it's because you really need to work on your leadership. So what do we mean by work on your leadership? Well, what we mean is that some people believe that because you were given something, that you're a leader. Well, that's not true, because immediately what you find out is that people don't, especially people who have been a part of an organization. Let's say you're part of some organization and they give you the organization. Maybe you're the child of the owner of the place. Well, people, and then you come in the door and they say, okay, and you just walk in and you just say, okay, I'm the new leader of this organization. And people go, huh? Who are you? I've been at this thing for 30 years, or I've been here 10 years, or I've been here 5 years. You walk in the door and you think that you're gonna lead this place, and then you see this struggle, this back and forth, or you come in the door and let's say you're a pastor, or another organization, and they even introduce you, and they go, hey, this is the new guy. And then you come in and you start throwing your weight around. You're going to start changing things. And the first thing people say is, who do you think you are? We've been here for this, and this is the way it was done. Probably you've heard this before, right? We've done this before. Well, lack of knowledge of leadership and not knowing how to implement and not how to massage people and how to win friends and influence people, that'll be something we'll talk about a little later, ends up in a train wreck. And we're going to talk a little bit about that, about how you become a leader, the different kinds of leaders. And we could spend probably the next 18 weeks talking about this. But I want to give you kind of a high-level view of leadership, why it's so important that you understand this, and businesses that actually showed really good leadership. I mean, I can give you one right off the top of my head. Lee Iacocca. Many of you probably heard of Lee Iacocca. Lee Iacocca was the head of other organizations, came out of retirement, and then became the head over at GM. And he's the one who brought in the K cars. That back in, was it the 80s and 90s? He brought in the K cars, and those K cars became synonymous with innovation. They became synonymous with leading edge, and for the General Motors, and that was all because of Lee Iacocca. He came in, GM, General Motors, was just failing, just miserably. He came in and did a massage job and restructured and rebranded the company, and brought in these K cars, and saved General Motors. Donald Trump, another guy who came in to organize. And we'll talk about Donald Trump when he was part of New York many years ago. They had an ice skating rink that was basically doomed for the boneyard, and Donald Trump, the city of New York, called Donald Trump in. He said, "Hey, I will do this for you. I will turn this around. And that ice skating rink now is still doing some amazing things. Leaders, good leadership is very evident because you're able to get people to understand what you want them to do and accomplish great things. Whether it's a big organization or a small organization, understanding, because I'm talking to you, because you're the leader. If you're listening to this podcast right now, I'm talking to you because you're going to go into an organization or you're going to start an organization or a project or a company or whatever, and you're going to have to get people to understand what you want them to do verbally, and then you're going to have to lead them and lead and raise up a leadership team underneath you that is able to accomplish what you want them to do. You're going to have to inspire people. Good leaders inspire people. And it's not just rhetoric. It's not just saying, hey, rah, rah, hey, we can jump off the building and we can do all these things. It's not that. It's you're able to cast a vision for an organization and people catch it. Let me give you another example. John F. Kennedy, who was the president of the United States in the early 60s here in America, during a time when America and Russia were at parity when it came to technological advancement and power. This is during the Cold War, or it was before the Cold War, as a matter of fact. And it was during the time when there was a parity in superpower ability, and so John F. Kennedy cast a vision for the United States. No matter how much you believed or didn't believe in his politics, leadership, we're talking about leadership here now. He said to America, because we were looking across the ocean to Russia, and Russia was saying, hey, America, we're better than you. And John F. Kennedy said, he cast a vision that not only would we get a rocket into orbit, but we would get a man to the moon in the next 10 years. And guess what, folks? America caught that vision, caught that excitement. He cast a vision that propelled, it started NASA in overdrive. It started private investment. So this is important too. Not only did it get the government moving forward, he got private investment buying into it. And we became the first country to land a man on the moon. And since then, we've never looked back. Let me give you one more example of just a spectacular leader, Deion Sanders. Oh yeah, I know some of you are wondering, when was I going to get to Deion? Deion Sanders, by far, has probably encapsulated one of the greatest modern-day leaders that we've seen. Deion Sanders, before he became the coach of the Colorado Buffaloes, was a perennial All-Pro in the NFL. He played for the Dallas Cowboys. Who else did he play for? Gosh. It doesn't really matter after the Dallas Cowboys, does it? Does it really matter? No, it really doesn't matter. So, I know. But Deion Sanders played for the Dallas Cowboys. And he, after retiring, or I should say, Deion Sanders, when he played for the Dallas Cowboys, was just, he was a crazy guy. He was the best receiver. He was the best defensive guy, best kick return specialist. He was prime time. He was already prime time when he was in the pros. So he goes to coach college football, and he coached for one of the HBCUs, the historically black college and universities. And he did great. He did great with the college that he was with. But did really anybody give him, really any respect? Well, fast forward now, he's coaching for the Colorado Buffaloes. Before that, had a terrible season. Just were not, and they were, I don't know if they were Pac-12, but when Deion Sanders came on the on the scene, he got a team to believe in him. Their first game was against TCU, Texas Christian University, the team that had played for the national championship the year before. And they came in, Colorado Buffaloes, a team that was more hyped, that everybody thought, oh, it's just hype, because Deion Sanders is coaching. And Deion Sanders not only made believers of the mainstream media, because Colorado won the game, but I think the more important thing is why they won. He got these players who were pretty good. I mean, his son, who's a quarterback, is actually really good, actually, to tell you the truth. And he had some receivers that are pretty good, too. But they're playing against TCU. Okay, Texas Christian is not a slouchy team. They played for the national championship the year before. And he got those kids believing, get this, believing that they were giant killers. And they did. I was crying after the game. Everybody's watching this game, guys. I mean, not just a few people. Everyone is watching this game for one reason. Because they wanted to see if the hype was real. They wanted to see, hey, was Deion Sanders really, was he hype or was he real? And I'll tell you, these boys played. They played, and they played for a couple of weeks that way, okay? Right now, they're kind of 500 or something like that, okay? But leaders get their people to believe in a cause, okay? Leaders cast a vision, and they get their people to say, you know what? I can do this. I can jump off this building. You know what I mean? I can jump off this building, and I can fly. We can be the number one company in the world, even though we're only, just coming out of the chute. Okay? Why is leadership so important? Because you get people to believe that they can do more than they can do and accomplish more than they can accomplish. And if you can't do that as a leader, folks, you got no choice. You got no chance. You really don't. You're spinning your wheels. You need to go back to school to learn how to be an effective leader. Give you another example here, folks. Patton. Patton, who is a general for us in the military here in the United States, was a rough and tumble guy. I read his story. I've seen videos on this guy. Patton, we had, and I speak of military guys a lot. My cousin, Colin Powell. Yeah, he's actually one of my cousins, folks. Bless his heart. Patton, Powell, guys like that were able to get their military guys here believing that they could do it, that they could win any war, that they were invincible. And as a result of that, and the same thing, I should have probably mentioned him before, George Washington. George Washington did the same thing. Abraham Lincoln did the same thing. Abraham Lincoln was a great leader because he was able to bring in Ulysses S. Grant. Ulysses S. Grant was a great man because he technically was a superior tactician, strategist, military guy than Robert E. Lee, the Confederate leader. And he was able to look over a vast, swath of land and a landscape and know the manpower he had, and able to tell his guys, guess what? We can do it. And his guys said, you're right, General, we can do it. Even though guys were falling to the right or the left, it did not, here's the cool thing, it did not stop these men from moving forward because they knew ultimately they had a righteous cause, and that their general said they could do it. They knew they could do it. If they had confidence in their general, they knew they had confidence in their cause. This is so important. Why is leadership important? because leadership wins battles. Leadership casts vision. Leadership gets people to believe in the impossible, and it's teachable. I think on our next video, our next podcast, we'll talk more about that. Maybe I'll get somebody else to talk a little bit more about this. I mean, I love leadership. It's the most exciting part about business. It's the most exciting part about success because it is so doable. I've seen it in my own life. I've seen it with my own companies. As a matter of fact, I'm going to mention it again. Our newest company is called Step Up Nevada. Let me throw up a video there we go. We'll throw up a logo on this. Step Up Nevada. We're working with people to help people, giving people a second chance at life. And we do this by, folks, creating a platform that is going to, it's revolutionary. I really believe it. We've already got people working on this platform. And we're doing food drives, we're doing fundraisers, we're doing clothing drives, we're doing all that kind of stuff. And the reason why is because people believe in the vision, they believe in the cause, and we've already empowered them to do it. And they're seeing success. I've got a lady who we've put out to go out and find locations for drop boxes, right? And I said, look, go to this guy. I know this guy. Tell him that I sent you, and he's going to give you what you want. And sure enough, she goes to the guy. I've not seen this guy in years, right? But I told her to tell him he knows me. He knows me from high school. He's got a large grocery store, and I hope he gets a chain here at some point. He should. But I empowered her, gave her my authority. She walks out the door, lands the deal that quick. And you know what that creates? It creates a synergy, creates a emotion, okay? And once people get that, folks, you can't stop them. And that's what leaders do. They get their people going. You create this excitement about winning, always winning. And that's important. So I'm just excited. I'm just excited about what we do and how we're doing it and what we're going to be doing in the future. Anyways, folks, we're going to let it go right now. We'll do another podcast here. We got to do number 2 on this. What we're going to do, we're going to talk about leadership some more and why leadership is so important. I think once you get this down in your spirit, you guys, you're going to love this, okay? Anyways, this has been Sherman Ray for the Black Success Magazine podcast. We'll see you again. We'll talk to you again here in just another, a couple days or so, okay? All right, talk to you later, folks. Bye-bye.